Hello everyone and welcome to Lush and Salty Aquariums. My name is Stefan. Thank you for coming to the channel. So I wanted to talk about a specific aquarium plant of which my camera is focused on right now. I cannot stop the fish from coming in front and impeding my view of this plant. It's the Cryptocoryne Balansae, and that is, now we have a pretty decent shot. There's a couple leaves of it there. It has that wonderful variegated texture. It can have a dark or a yellow line running through the center like mine does here. It can grow darker than this and greener than this. And I imagine there's a couple strains, but basically it's the Crypt Balansae, and it's one of the taller crypts in the crypt family. So great for a big tank. It also, based on its height, has a significant root structure. So, whatever substrate level you can give, bigger is gonna be better. As I said a moment ago, it's one of the taller growing cryptocoryne plants. So you compare it here with this wonderful lush jungle of, I believe, Cryptocoryne wendetti, if I'm getting that exactly right. I could be wrong. There's various strains of this as well, but more of a classic growth pattern here, not nearly as tall, thicker leaves, etc., and growing in clumps. Whereas this one, what I wanted to highlight here, this is a baby that has come through, propagated underneath the substrate from the mother plant, which is rising right here. Now, there's a pogo stem and octopus that's sort of impeding your perfect view of this plant, but I think you get the sense of it. It has those great, long, thin, dark stems that gradually become full out leaves. And it can grow up to 3 feet tall, more like a couple feet. So this tank, I believe, is 24 inches high. And so it's sort of topping out. Now, granted, there's flow from the filtration system that's pushing it down here. I freaking love this plant. It's a great alternative or surrogate or similar plant to the jungle veil. Now you see some of that in the back there where it's being used in a classic fashion as a background plant to cover the from left to right of the tank in the background, and that plant grows extensively. You see these tendrils. This is the leopard variety, I believe, so it gets that red and that speckly pattern into it. I just clipped the hell out of it, but here's a few tendrils that have that I missed, and it will grow and grow and grow, whereas this one will max out at 2.5 feet, give or take a few inches. And I love it as an alternative for the veil because it's much slower growing, and it does a lot of the things that cryptocoryne do that veil cannot. In other words, while this one likes higher light, it can certainly survive in lesser light than a robust growing Balansae plant. But to get the best result, obviously all the usual suspects are needed, including potentially CO2 to get that wonderful corrugated, thick, green, algae-free growth, but it's not critical. It's just always, and that's going to be the case with 90% of all aquarium plants, if not more. It's always better with great light and CO2, and of course, coming in third would be a decent amount of substrate. And if you have all three of those, perhaps you're using root tabs to accommodate for sand substrate or something like that, this plant will grow for you. And since it's not a Balansae, it's not going to overrun your tank. And if it does start to overrun your tank, you can just pull out a few, and they're worth a lot of money in trade. And I've never met an aquarium store that didn't prick up its ears when it saw me walking in with a bag of these. And cryptocoryne in general, but in particular these, whereas Balansae, they probably have a lot, so they're going to be more ho-hum about it. And Cryptocoryne Balansae is such a beautiful representation of that vast family of plants. I highly recommend it. It would look even more flowy and elegant if that gnarly pogostemon octopus wasn't all wrapped up in between it. But you know that I have passion for this plant, or I wouldn't have made a whole video devoted to it. As a slower grower, I mean, this is 8 months after putting one smaller plant in, and I'm just now seeing a few offshoots. That one that I pointed out, and then maybe a couple others down there. Now that is not one, that has come all the way from these plants. And once crypts start doing this in your tank, you know you're dialed in, because I mean, I love this plant. It used to be my favorite species of plant, all the different crypts, and you know, it could easily become that again because of the lesser light requirements and the way it can grow at the bottom of a tank and do a lot of the things other plants do, i.e. like pseudo carpeting, as this one is doing, although that's a pretty thick shag, and spreading slowly but surely, filling out portions of the tank that might not readily see good plant growth, like these weird corners and such, and being valuable as a swap and trade item. Down in the crypt forest here, you see fish, and you know, they can escape being harassed, they can spawn, they can just be generally happy down in these wonderful little forests. And then with this plant, it occupies the mid-ground of a big tank, which strangely enough, I mean, that's not as easy to do as you would think if you're not going with sword plants and you're using Val on the back, and stem plants, you know, are not generally a part of a massive display right up front, because this is where the real estate is for your fish to swim about in. And yet this one does not interfere, as you can plainly see from these big fat rainbow fish just navigating up and under and in between. Just a great plant, and I wanted to share my passion with you for this particular plant, as well as make another video and communicate. Okay, everybody, keep your hands in the tank, and ciao for now.